Hello, everybody. Grand Rising. Long time no see. I know I have not been as active as I usually am, but I figured it was time for me to come back out of seclusion and get back on this teaching journey. So, something that we're going to be talking about today during this live video or during this video is something that has been very dominant coming to me lately. Is people using blood magic. So I know blood magic is a big taboo in the hoodoo community sometimes, and even just in spirituality, period, when people do not fully understand or the energy and the purpose of why people are even using blood magic, what is the purpose of blood magic, how strong and potent blood magic actually is. So that is what we will be covering today. Also, this will include having sex on your period, ladies. So this is what this video will be talking about today. So first off, like I said, welcome, hello everybody. I am Mama Noyela. I am a 15-year two-headed conjure woman. I have been doing this practice for quite a while. And the very first thing that I was saying was I got into was blood magic. So in the process of my blood magic, there are some things that we want to cover, okay? So when you are dealing with blood magic, the first thing that you want to do is, number one, know yourself, okay? And when I say know yourself, do the research of your ancestors. Do the research of your history. Know your bloodline. If you know that some of your ancestors may have been Muslim and they come from another part of the world, you might want to read the history of those people. If you know that, you may have European in your blood, you may want to go read the original history of those Europeans. Because at the end of the day, no matter what they want to tell you or what is put out there in mainstream, each one of these places do trace back to melanated people. Whether you are from Russia, whether you are from Ireland, whether you are from Scotland, whether you are from England, Britain, these people, these places originally had black people or African people or melanated people, people with melanin skin, okay? They were originally from these places. So if you feel drawn to Norse or throwing runes or you love Greek mythology, 9 times out of 10, this is what's in your DNA. This is what you're drawn to. So when you are dealing with blood magic or when you are even trying to learn about magic, rule number 1, learn yourself, learn your bloodline, and learn the history of your bloodline. Learn how certain bloodlines have maybe crossed each other or came into existence of each other or knowing of each other or how that may have come about. You have to remember there are several different instances of where you had to cross and cross and cross and cross. Your genetics crossed so many different people to get you right here, right now. So you have to be aware of the very ancestors that are residing in your DNA, number 1. So always study and learn yourself. Learn who you are. And for those of you that are like, well, I was adopted, I don't know how I'm supposed to find my blood. We're going to get to that, okay? We're going to get to that. Trust me, we're going to get to it. So once you've studied the history of your DNA, then you have to go to the spiritual aspect, okay? So after you go from the historical, next thing you want to do is go into spiritual. From physical to spiritual. When you go into the spiritual realm, now you have to learn the religious studies or the spiritual studies and practices of each one of these energies or each one of these ancestors within your DNA. So for instance, with me and my lineage, I know for a fact that we come from Louisiana, Tennessee, here in Alabama, and Virginia. Those are my 4 grandparents. These are where they were born from. But to go further than that, one grandparent actually was born here in America. was never a slave, was actually here, was a Native American that was thrown into slavery. Then I also have an ancestor that was an indentured servant from Ireland or from the Netherlands. And they were also brought here. And then, of course, I have the ancestors that were from Nigeria and from West Mali. And they were also brought here too. So it really goes deep into learning and researching who you are and learning and researching the spiritual practices or the religious practices of a lot of these beings that now reside within your DNA. So now we have those two. You have your physical, learn who you are first. Your spiritual, learn the religious and the spiritual backings of these energies within your DNA. Now, here are some of the problems that we run into when it's concerning blood magic, okay? If you as a person have not healed yourself from physical abuse, mental abuse, spiritual abuse, emotional abuse, trauma, whatever the case may be, these are still energies that have resonance or still have residue in your DNA. Negative energy still has residue DNA. You being very active or all of these are still in your DNA. So this is also why you have to be careful about who you're having sex with. Sexually transmitted diseases are very real, just like sexually transmitted demons are even more real, my loves. Yes. So when you are not acknowledging some of the demons or energies that are even within your own DNA, and you're trying to use blood magic, you are opening a huge, huge vortex of Pandora's Box. It's almost like Forrest Gump. My mama always said life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Well, when you are using blood magic and doing blood work, that is what you are doing. Since you don't know what really went on in the bloodline, you haven't really studied your bloodline, and now it's to the point a lot of family don't even know what's going on in the bloodline. You being so hard up for, oh, I'm a mambo, or oh, I'm a high priest and I can do this. Not really taking the time to study and heal a lot of the traumas or things that have been going on in your bloodline. So now you're activating. Not only are you activating dormant ancestors that may not even want to deal with you, because you have to remember, if you learn the history, certain races of people did not get along. So the fact that you are here right now, that is a blessing in itself. That is a breaking of the generational curses in itself. So if you are not studying your blood and learning where you're coming from and literally paying attention to a lot of the religious and spiritual aspects of who you are as a person, what things you are attracted to as a person, and really learning the beginning phases of a lot of these things, you are setting yourselves up for failure, my dear. And you also have to remember, a lot of you who have mixed DNA, some of your ancestors in your DNA do not get along. And if you are not strong enough to take the reins and have them all come to your spiritual table and say, hey, I am hurting. I need to be free. We need peace. I am making a place in space for peace. If you do not wish to have peace, I dismiss you. And then you start working with those ancestors within your DNA that wish to have peace, that wish to have restoration, that wish to be elevated. And they will begin teaching you. They will begin showing you many different things about yourself. And this goes into play with those of you who feel that, you don't have ancestors, or, you've been adopted. How are you supposed to find who you really are? Ask spirit. And to be more specific, this is what I'll do for some of you. And I do not recommend everybody do this unless you are ready. Get you a white candle. And it does not take a lot. Get you a white candle and literally Drop one of your drops of blood in that little white candle. You can use a tea candle for all I care. But the very first thing that you are going to ask is, I beseech my benevolent ancestors, those that mean me good, to find me, teach me, and show me who I am. And I guarantee you they will respond, because the minute that you're ready to know them, they're going to want to show you everything that you're missing, everything that they did not get to pass down, everything that should have been taught. So even if it comes down to the fact of you may be going out in public, just going to the grocery store, but out of nowhere, you have to make a left on Cherokee Street. That's a sign. They're guiding you to who you are. Now, some people will be like, oh, well, that's just the street. But if you know what intent and energy you have set out there, that's not just coincidence. Then you may be going through and go to the grocery store. You get to the grocery store and you're going shopping, and all of a sudden somebody comes up to you and start talking and talking and talking and talking, and you just like, thank you. And that's literally because when people are praying, they do not focus the energy when they are in a desperate situation. It is literally whatever is answering, whoever is answering, I just need help. So once they get that energy out there that I just need help, they'll bump into me, they'll bump into you, and they'll just get to talking. Because those of us that are elevated, those of us that know who we are through our DNA inside and out, we know that we're shamans. We know that we're healers. We know that we are able to transmute negative energy into positive energy. So we will naturally attract these people. That is also within your DNA. So this, my dears, is why the beginning of doing any type of blood magic, always start with yourself first. This is part 1 of my whole blood magic series. So this is something that is very, very important. A lot of people are coming into spirituality from religion, and they're, oh, I can do this and oh, I can do that. Prime example. I know recently a lot of people have been on Facebook and they saw the little girl that believed that she could call upon the Loa and sort of attack another being with this type of energy. But what she failed to realize is that, sweetie, in your DNA, you held the blood of oppressors. So with that being said, you are not privy and nor are you recognized to call upon these energies and deities against their energy. You cannot summon a Alois against a African descent person of slavery when you yourself and your ancestors played a huge role in that. And you did not seek forgiveness, you did not seek an attunement, nor did you elevate your ancestors from that slavery situation. Therefore, when she tried to conjure up this spirit, number 1, she was not blood entitled, so she did not have the right. Number 2, she did not make an atonement or build a relationship with this spirit before it was even necessary or even possible. So 3, that was a source of entitlement to a spirit. You cannot, love you too. You cannot dictate. You cannot go in and, oh, I need you to do this. If you have not built that relationship up, then no, you don't own that right at all. And if you do not understand the energy of a lot of these spirits, especially dealing with Papa Legba, Elegua, Eshu, Eju, Elegbara, if you are not used to dealing with these energies, if you have not built up a relationship with these energies, they're going to give you what you want and you will lose what you had. And in this young girl's case, that was the very instance. She wanted to get back at this girl, revenge. I hate her. She's ugly. She's this, that, and the third. And when she conjured the wrong spirit, because 1, she didn't know herself. Number 2, she didn't know the spirit she was fucking with. And number 3, she was just all around wrong. I digress. But since that was the situation during this circumstance, she got exactly what she wanted. A life for a life. But she lost what she had. She lost her life for the life she disrespected. Got to be careful of these things. And this is why studying yourself and learning and knowing your DNA is important. Because if you don't settle the blood feud within your own body, you trying to go after somebody else, you don't know who their spirit guides are. You don't know who their spiritual courts are. And you definitely have not elevated or healed self or your ancestors enough to want to go at it. Part 2, this is another part of this, dealing with blood magic, comes into play of healing not only self and facing your own demons and trauma, but also dealing with some of the stuff your ancestors done did. Some of your ancestors are not as squeaky clean as they tried to portray in real life. So when it comes down to dealing with why do our family deal with so much rape and molestation, you got to think about where it comes from, the source. And have you acknowledged that source? And have you dealt with that source? Well, we have a lot of abuse. Have you went to the person of the abuse? Have you started that acknowledgement? Because if not, and you're trying to do blood magic and do blood work, and you have all of this blood feud going on in your DNA, that is why your blood work is backfiring. You cannot go after other people and you have not healed or dealt with your own inferno or the own shadows of your own hell. This is why blood magic is also very, very frightening and potent, because not only are you using your energy and intent, but you are also using the blood and the energy from every last one of those ancestors, 13 generations on back. So you will have the ancestors in your bloodline to be like, yes, we are going to war. And then you will also have the other ancestors to be like, we don't attack white people because we're white. That's a blood feud within self. And now you not knowing self or trying to use your entitlement to go after other people spiritually. No bueno, baby. No bueno, muy mal. Muy mal. Very bad. Don't do that. No que nada. Don't do that. Learn yourself. Honor self. Study self. Study the history. Know all the ins and the outs, the ups and the downs before you go into any dealings of blood magic. So, this is part 1 of my blood magic series, dealing with your ancestors and your bloodline first. So for those of you that are lost about how do I even find out who I am, this is a very simple blood magic ritual to find out who you are as a person. On my channel, I will not give you guys any lessons or anything that will be meant to hinder or harm or hurt you. I will not be teaching anything that I have not done personally myself. So again, for those of you that are looking to find how to reconnect with those ancestors, how do you find the truth about who you are? White tea candle. You only need a drop of blood and pure intent. Show me who I am. And if you are not ready, then baby, don't ask this question. Don't play this game. Don't open that door. If you are not ready to figure out who you are, what is in your DNA, as above, so below, both good, bad, and indifferent, do not do this. I cannot be held and will not be held responsible for anyone who does not take the heeding and the warning. You will get what you want and lose what you had if you play with this. Blood magic is very serious. Blood magic is very vital. So, with that being said, I love you. I love you. I want to see nothing but you all prosper and succeed in daily life. Namaste, you guys, but nah, I'm gonna stay over here. Holla.